Okay, so I'm going to turn my iPad on in just a second so that I can see you all. And I'd like you to take your time settling yourself down into a comfortable, supported back bend. So whether you choose to use the brick layout that I have set up here, then you can. Remember that it's nice to put a blanket, a thick blanket over the top of the 2 bricks so that you have a little bit more cushioning. Or if you don't have 2 bricks, just roll up a blanket or a towel that you can lie over, so it's across the middle of your back, just under the line of where your armpit ends, the lower part of the underneath of the arm. Okay. Right. Let's just get this all working so I can keep seeing you all. Lovely. Okay, so welcome everybody who's still coming in. Welcome Lisa. Welcome Janet and Graham. Thank you for waving at me. You're right, Alison. Can you hear me okay? No. Shall I speak up a little bit? Is that helping if I speak more clearly? Yeah, okay. All right. I think everybody is about settled. Looking good, everybody. So when we're here in this lying position, I would encourage you to let the support that's underneath you, let it hold you, so that you can allow your body weight to drop into it. And as a consequence, see if the space across the collarbones can feel a little bit broader, and the outside edges of the shoulders and the upper arms just curling down softly towards the floor. I would encourage you not to have your head too far back. So if your chin is very much higher than your forehead, maybe think about adjusting the height of any support that's underneath the back of your head. All right. And we're going to settle into this and start to take some breaths. And to begin with, I want you to think about the space below your rib cage and breathe in and out into this space. So breathing in and just a gentle inflation of the abdomen with the inhalation. And then breathing out, gentle deflation. The abdomen, the belly sinks back in. Breathing in and out at your own pace. Okay. So then if it's comfortable for you, I want you to take your hands to the sides of the lower ribs. Okay, so you've got maybe your thumbs pointing backwards if you like. You don't have to, you can have your thumbs pointing forwards. Depends how open your shoulders feel. If this is uncomfortable to lie in at this supported back bend and have the hands here, you're going to think about this area of your body instead. You're going to think about the lower part of the ribs. And now I want you to breathe into there. So if you're holding this area, you can breathe in. Matt, leave her alone. I thought you were sneaking up on poor Becky to make her jump then. Okay, so breathing in and feeling the lower part of your rib cage gently expanding. And then feeling it settling as you breathe out. So if it's uncomfortable for your hands to be here, just let them rest by your sides. Okay. And then if it's comfortable, again, please only do this in your mind's eye if it is uncomfortable. But I want you to take your thumbs and put them in your armpits. And you can rest your fingers wherever is comfortable, but press your thumbs just lightly in and up. And I'd like you to breathe in to where your thumbs are now. So your thumbs are in your armpit, or that's where your attention is, and you're breathing in and out. One more breath. And then let the hands rest back down by your sides. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling. And then notice a natural, easy breath and see whether you can still think about the sides of your rib cage. And can you really breathe into the sides, expanding outwards? I'm going to take one more breath here in this position. And then I'd like you to gently bend your knees and to roll yourself over to one side and to come round and up to sit, please. Good. So sit comfortably, sit on blankets or blocks if you need to. And then just settle yourself for a moment, maybe hands on your lap or your knees. We'll go back into the breath space for a moment. So close your eyes and just settle yourself. Sit bones sinking into the block or the support underneath you if you're using it. Rest of the spine is light. So we're going to put to use some of those aspects of the breath that we just played with the hands. And now what I want you to do is change your hand position. So I want you to wrap your arms like you're giving yourself a hug, and your hands are just gently on the sides of the rib cage. Try and relax the shoulders because they hunch up really easily underneath the ears. Close your eyes. And I'd like you to breathe in, deep breath, to where your hands are. And then meet the resistance. So press your hands against your rib cage to stop the ribs expanding further. And watch the breath filling up the upper part of the lungs. And then exhaling and everything becoming soft again. So big breaths in and out. The hands are here. I want you to breathe to where the hands are initially. And then when that expansion starts to happen, really press against it with your palms so that the breath travels upwards to the top of the lung space. And breathe out. You're going to keep going with this, please. Go at your own pace. Of course, breathe in and out to your own measure. Be comfortable in your own breath always. Just see what this feels like when you're able to breathe a little bit higher up into this upper portion of the lungs. And do one more of these. And then you can release your hands back into your lap and let your breath return to normal again. Maybe noticing whether the breath feels a little bit fuller or deeper. Okay. So we're going to stay seated for a little bit longer. You are welcome to sit kneeling if you are uncomfortable with your legs crossed. You're welcome to extend the legs away from you. We are going to fold forwards. We're going to do a little breathing and arm movement. Very Tibetan this is, so we're going to work through this. It will involve folding forwards and bringing your hands maybe round behind you and folding down like this. So therefore, if you feel that you want something on the floor underneath your forehead, then please put a block or a blanket or something like that there, so that it just makes the distance for your head to travel a little bit shorter. Also, if you find you get lightheaded going up and then down, please leave that bit out and just stay upright. All right. So we're going to start with the fingertips down by the sides. Take a lovely big breath in and bring the hands up. So this is the same as what we did on Sunday. So those of you that were with me on Sunday will recognize this. Bringing the hands behind your head. Then as you exhale, press the palms outwards. Heel of the hands press away, fingertips high. Then flip the palms. As you breathe in, bring the fingertips towards the top of the shoulders and breathe into the heart, lifting the elbows. Then as you breathe out, push the palms away. Straight arms, you can drop your chin towards your chest, open up the back of the shoulders. Then inhale, the hands lift all of the way up towards the ceiling. Again, press firmly through the heel of the hands. And then exhaling, you're going to surrender down. Hands maybe come round behind you, or they can stay on the floor in front, and you're bowing forwards. Then it's inhaling back up, all the way up, arms wide, just as we start the sequence again. Hands coming behind your head. Exhaling, pressing away through the palms, arms nice and long. Inhaling, turn the palms, bring the fingertips towards the shoulders, lift the elbows, breathe into the heart. Then breathe out through the back of the heart as you press the arms away, chin towards the chest. Breathe in, lift the hands high towards the ceiling, body upright again. And then exhaling, bowing down, surrendering down, folding forward. And again, let's do this 2 more times. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. A little bit of a curl, chin to chest. Inhale up. Exhale down to the ground. One more time. You go at your own pace, please. Very nice. Just come down for a moment, take a breath or two here. If you're staying upright, stay in your upright position, just breathing gently, easy breaths. Good job. One more breath in, one more breath out here in this forward fold. And then as you inhale the next time, come up, and we'll just change the cross of the legs. So this is only applicable if you are sitting cross-legged. You can still take a forward fold even if you weren't cross-legged. We're just going to come down gently, forward folding, maybe hands in front if you like. Just making sure that we've worked both sides of the hips. That's it. Then taking an inhalation and coming back up. And we're going to roll over onto all fours, please. Okay. So in your all fours position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And we'll just take some circles with the shoulders. So we're giving the wrists a little bit of a warm up before we get going. So a couple of circles in this direction, and then a couple of circles the other way, please. And I want you to look down at your hands and feel the sensation of your body weight around the palm. Okay, come back to the center. And then I'd like you to think about really pressing your palms into the ground. And I'd like you to think about your upper arm, your tricep muscles on the back of your arm. And I want you to turn them backwards slightly, okay? So that means that the crease of your elbow joint is turning slightly forwards, even though your hands are still on the ground. I want you to turn the crease of the elbow forward so the triceps spin backwards. And then I want you to lift the back of your heart towards the ceiling. So it's like a mini cat stretch, okay? It's not really strong, but it is giving you a sense of strength to your arms, okay? Now see if you can keep this same arm position and do not bend the elbows, but do drop your heart in between your arms. Now this can take a little bit of figuring, okay? So again, go back, lift the heart up to the ceiling, so you're doming the back of your thoracic spines. This is really important area for back bends here. And then the heart lowers, but the arms stay straight. Okay, so you're gonna go up, it's like you're gliding your shoulder blades across your upper back. Okay, so when you come up, you lift the heart up gently, and there's a slight drawing together, but only slight because we're doming the back of the body. And then when we lower down towards the heart, we've got the protraction of the shoulder blades, okay, so they're moving really close together. Then you're lifting them up, they're spreading apart, this is retraction, and then going down, this is protraction, okay, so do this again, coming up, doming, and then coming down. And you might find, so sit back onto your heels and give your wrists a little bit of a roll. You might find that that can be quite a helpful thing because the shoulder blades shouldn't be fixed. They should be moving all around the back of your body. And they get quite stuck in a locked position, and their range of motion goes. But we can work that, we can work to strengthen it. We're going to do something in a moment that's going to reflect on what we've just been doing. Okay, so now as you come back onto all fours, and if you get any wrist discomfort, remember that the tips are to roll up the end of your mat and to put the heel of your hand on the higher bit of the roll, and the fingers and the finger bases on the floor, or you could use a blanket or something like that to do it instead. So now what I want you to do is tuck your toes under, and I'd like you to lift your tailbone. So we're taking our back bend into the lower part of the back. Now think about lifting the front of the heart and looking forwards. So we've got a complete back bend, the whole of the back body is working. Then untuck your toes, point the tailbone down between the knees, round the back body, and this time drop your chin towards your chest. Feels a bit different than what we were doing before, doesn't it? So breathe in, tuck the toes under, lift the tailbone, lower the navel, look forwards, keep the arms nice and strong and long, slightly turning the elbow creases forwards. Keep them turned forwards as you come into a full cat stretch. Very nice. Good. Just stay here, breathe, and then relax. Good. Okay, look at where your hands are on the floor. Pop your elbows where your hands were. Walk your feet back, your knees back, and come to lay on your front into a Sphinx position. Good, lovely. I've got all these little bobby faces, these because of all your different camera angles, and all of a sudden there's just a little face in the screen. I love it. Okay, but it's so nice to see you all. It's so nice to see all your happy smiley faces. Okay, so this is Sphinx pose, and this is a really nice kind of preparatory back bend, because we don't have to work very hard to be here, or at least I'm hoping that we don't. If you want to make any of the back bends or a Sphinx pose easier, you bring the elbows further forwards. If you want to bring them, make it a bit more challenging, you put support underneath them and make sure that they're underneath your shoulders. So that's your first position I want you to think about, okay? Now, I don't want you to be dropping your head back like this too much. I want you to keep the back of the neck long, and I want you to turn your head from side to side. Because if you get tension in the back of your neck or your jaw starts to tighten up, then it's not an appropriate angle for your head. Okay, so just turn the head from side to side and encourage there to be a natural sort of space and lengthening through the back of the neck. Okay, so this is Sphinx pose. Now what I want you to do is tuck your toes under. Leave your knees on the floor, please. But I want you to lift your bottom towards the direction of your heels. So once you're here, you're in a little bit of a back bend. I want you to lose the back bend by pointing your tailbone towards the back of the knees again, and I want you to bring the front of the hip bones towards the ribs. So you're engaging the abdomen. The abdomen should be working for you here. There should be work and effort with a little bit of it, like you're drawing your navel in towards your spine. Okay, and then float forwards and pop your hips down, untuck your toes, press the tops of the feet lightly into the floor, and this is back into Sphinx. The previous pose is a version of praying mantis. We're going to float between the two of them. And the reason for doing this, great preparation for back bend, but can you feel this in your shoulders? Okay, I want you to be working your shoulders a little bit here. So tuck your toes under again. Lift your your hips and take them backwards. Then point your tailbone like you're tucking it under, lifting your navel towards your spine, drawing your ribs and the low ribs and the front of your hips closer together. Now, those that want to can lift your elbows off of the floor, straighten the arms, press the mat away from you and engage the whole front of your body, super, super strong. And then float the elbows down. Hips come back down, untuck your toes. Good, just wiggle your hips a little bit, make sure they're nice and soft. Okay, let's do this one more time, all right? So tuck your toes, take the hips back, point the tailbone towards the heels, engage the abdomen, stay here with the elbows on the floor if you want, keep lifting the back of the heart to the ceiling, or float the elbows off the floor, press the palms and gently engage the muscles along the front body. Hold this, hold this, hold this, hold this, and then float down onto your Sphinx and then relax. Make a pillow for your forehead to rest on. Wiggle your hips from side to side and relax your shoulders for a breath. Well done. Okay, so true back bends require strength, okay, and that's what you've just been doing, is you've been building up a little bit of strength in your shoulders as well as strength in your core. And we're going to take this a little bit further by coming into skydiver pose, okay, so it's a bit like Shalabhasana, but if you think about how when a skydiver jumps out of an aeroplane, they do this, don't they? Okay, they do that sort of thing. That's what we're going to do. All right. So I want you to bend your knees, and you can flex your ankles. I want you to have your arms, elbows bent, so elbows roughly in line with your head or whatever, your nose or your shoulders. And we're going to lift up the knees and lift up the upper body, and you're really going to work the back line, the posterior line, this posterior chain of muscles down the back of your body. So when you're ready, try to keep your head again in line with the rest of your spine. So you're not trying to look up too strongly, because that's just going to hurt your neck after a while. Okay, so keep the neck in line, keep looking sort of downwards, and then when you're ready, breathe in, lift your knees, lift your elbows, lift your hands. Hands off of the floor, no hands on the floor, take your hands off. Joe, take your hands off of the floor. And then come back down. You can do it, I know you can do it. Just imagine you're jumping out of an aeroplane. And you wouldn't have a choice because the wind takes you into that position. So when you're ready, we'll do it again. Breathe in, lift up your head. Just float your elbows off the floor. It doesn't have to be very far. So that's it. You've got it. You've got it. Well done. Knees higher, feet higher. Squeeze the glutes. Hold it. And come back down. All right, we've got one more in us. We can definitely do one more. So when you're ready, we're going to stay for a couple of breaths longer this time. So be prepared for it. If you want to come down, do it on an exhale, please. And inhale when you're ready, come up. So imagine that you are pressing your feet to the ceiling. Lift the elbows, lift the hands. Look in front of you, breathe, lift the knees a bit higher, squeeze, 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 hold it. You've got this, John. I can see you've got it. Well done. Breathe in and come back down. And allow your head to rest and your hips to wiggle. Good. So you've got a bit of it all going on then. And hopefully you've got a little bit of heat being generated in your body and you're starting to feel a little bit warmer. Okay, let's pop the hands back down on the floor, either side of your shoulders. Lift yourself up to all fours. Drop your bottom back towards your heels and bow your forehead down towards your mat. If you want to put something underneath your head, like your hands or fists, you're welcome to. Just take a couple of breaths resting in child's pose. Okay, so then floating yourself up again, maybe come to sit kneeling so that you can have a look at your screen for a moment. So lots of you will have practiced things like this, what we're about to do with me, plenty of times, and some of you will be brand new to this. So I want you to do what you're able to do and work gently with yourself. So we're gonna. So if you want to just watch this first one so that you can see what I'd like you to do. So we're back into this all fours position. And sometimes when we come into pose called Ashtanga Mudra, 8-limb position, I ask for the toes to be tucked under, the knees to be on the floor, the hands on the floor. So that's 6 points, if you like. And the other 2 points are the chin and the chest. So that makes the 8 for Ashtanga. Ash is 8 in Sanskrit. So we're going to think about if we were to come down, which is this position. This is your Ashtanga Mudra. You're looking forwards. Now it's quite a big back bend, as you can see. So you might want. We're not going to come all the way down into that, mind. I'm just showing you that that's the preparation, if you like, for what we're about to do. But we would bring something underneath, like a block or a blanket. So for what we are also about to do, you might want to use that too, because the most trickiest bit about what to do here is what we do with the shoulders and the arms. And for many, many back bends, you have to have strong shoulders and strong arms. So we do the same thing where we wrap the triceps. So it's this outer bit, we're trying to take them backwards slightly. And it engages some muscles down here, the serratus muscles. It works those that help to stabilize the upper body and the shoulders. So we're externally rotating the arms, turning the inner elbow creases forwards, and we've got to engage the tummy. So we have to strongly hold the tummy. And what I want you to do is think about bringing the top of your head down onto the floor and then coming back up. So you might want to put something there just to make that journey. So notice what I've done. I've externally rotated my upper arm, so I'm wrapping my triceps backwards. I've created a bit of posterior tilt, so I'm pointing my tailbone towards my heels. So I'm drawing my navel up in towards the spine to make that strong. And then I'm lowering down, okay? And so with something underneath you, it's not a very big journey. But I want you to watch where your elbows go, because they need to come backwards rather than out to the sides. Sides is not okay. Elbows creases forwards, elbows bend backwards as you come down. Okay, so I'm going to have a little go for watch. I want you to play with this. I'll talk you through it. So it's externally rotate your upper arm, so the triceps roll backwards, elbow creases point forwards, tailbone points towards the back of the legs, tummy engaged, elbows bend and they move backwards, okay, so they're coming back and the head lowers down. And it's the top of your head, okay, not your forehead, but the top of your head. No body weight is being rested into it. It is just a journey. It's just a direction for it to go in. Welcome to your triceps and your upper arms, your shoulders. Yes, good. Okay, take a rest. Give your wrists a little bit of a roll out. Good job. Okay, so all of these things, they're a bit like building blocks, all right? And when we build up the different aspects of certain poses, we create a memory inside of our head, muscle memory. So when we come to do the more challenging variation or the full variation of the pose, we've already created that muscle memory. So we'll come back to this because these what we're prepping for, the back bends we're going to do today are all part of it, but the longer journey is stronger, deeper back bends, if you like, that will happen over time. All right, let's think about coming back onto all fours. Just briefly, I would like you to tuck your toes under. I'd like you to wrap your triceps again, so turn them back slightly. Move your bottom back towards your heels, float your knees off of the floor, hold this here, find out how your quads are feeling this evening, just give them a little bit of a wake up, and then slowly unravel the backs of your legs, let your head hang between your arms gently, and come into a downward dog. Have a little dance, have a little pedal of the heels from side to side, giving the calves and the Achilles a little bit of a stretch. All right, and then I'd like you to float your left knee to the ground and step your right foot between your hands. If you want, you can put something underneath your left knee for a little bit more comfort. So we're going to work into our next back bend, which is Anjaneyasana. So you need to make sure, please, that you've got your right knee above your ankle and then lift yourself up. The same thing is going to happen. I want you to point your tailbone down towards the back of the knee joint. So the front of the hips, the bony bit on the front, starts to lift upwards towards your low ribs. But you're not going to flare your low ribs out. I want you to also keep them down. So there's a container, an engagement, if you like, across and around the abdomen. Then all I want you to do is you're going to leave your right hand onto your right thigh, keep your knee above your ankle, and then breathe your left arm up towards the ceiling. Now, if you can, keep lifting the fingertips high as you can, so the whole left side of the body is lengthening. And then keep lifting from the heart, but don't let the low ribs flare out. And see whether you can take this into a slightly deeper back bend from the thoracic spine. So rolling the shoulders back a little bit, but keep the tailbone pointing down. You don't have to go very far before you start to feel this. Good. Now gently come back, lower the hand down. All right, so you probably had a bit of a stretch going on in the front of the left hip there as well. And back bends are designed to do that. They want to stretch and open up the front of the body. This time, you're going to take your hands. You could either lace your fingers or just have one hand on top of the other and bring them behind your head. So they're just cradling the back of your head. I'd like you to do the same thing. Lift the front of the hips towards the low ribs down to the hips. Point the tailbone towards the heels and then rest your head into your hands and lift your heart towards the ceiling. So doesn't look like much is happening, but it feels like a lot is going on here. Good. One more lovely breath. Really press the head back into the hands, lifting the heart, sending the hips forwards and up, and then gently release. Release the hands, and you're probably ready to step the right knee back. So take that foot back, swap over any support you're using for your knee, and take your left foot forwards. Okay, so remember, knee is above the ankle. That's what we're aiming for. We've got a little bit of a lunge happening, but we're stabilizing it by pointing the tailbone down towards the back of the knee, lifting the front of the hips up, low ribs staying in. Left hand on thigh, right arm alongside the ear. And you might find that just having the arm straight up is enough. If you want to go further, you can lift the heart up, lift it up, take the hand back. You could look up towards the ceiling. If you feel a bit wobbly here, please just keep your gaze forwards. If you're not feeling much here, keep pointing the tailbone to the back knee and then lunge the hips a little bit lower. Good. And then gently release. Come back out of it slightly just to give this right thigh a bit of a break. And then you can lace your fingers, put them behind your head. Elbows open out wide, your body's facing forwards, you're nice and symmetrical, be it one leg forwards, one leg back. And I want you to lengthen the tailbone towards the back knee, lift the front of the hips up, lunge the hips, and then let the head fall back into the hands. But the hands are meeting that resistance, and you keep lifting your heart towards the ceiling. Okay, so don't be fooled. These might look like little back bends, but they are working hard. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in here. Good. You look fabulous, everyone. Well done. Take another lovely breath. And as you breathe out, gently release the hands back down. Tuck the back toes under, lift up the right knee, and step the left foot back so you can come into your little walking dog. And then pop your knees onto the floor and untuck your toes and rest down into child's pose again. All right, so take your time, unraveling, unwinding, softening shoulders if they need it, letting the hips rest heavy. Okay, take 2 more breaths here, please. And then slowly start to slide your fingertips away from you. Inhale yourself up to an all fours position. Tuck your toes under, move your bottom backwards, and then slowly unwind into downward dog again. Letting the head rest. We're just going to pause here for a few breaths. So think about lifting the sit bones, letting the heels move towards the back of your mat. So there's a real sense of length down the back of the legs. Just pressing gently into the palms and slightly externally rotating the upper arm, so wrapping the triceps around. Just notice how that works the shoulder muscles a little bit more. All right, then we're gently going to look forwards and float the shoulders over the hands. Keep turning the inner elbow creases forwards and the shoulders wrapping around the back of the body. And then I'd like you to lift your right foot off of the floor. Hold this here. Then bring the knee underneath your chest and curl yourself into a kind of floated cat curl. Good. And then pop your right foot on the floor. In between your hands, and give it a wiggle, help it there if it needs it. And you're into a really nice long stretch, long lunge position. Then when you're ready, bend your back knee and step your left foot forwards, hang down momentarily into a forward fold, and then slowly make your way up to stand. Okay, well done everyone. So stay where you are at the top of your mat. Put your hands onto your hips. Body weight into your right leg and step your left foot back. So we're into a higher lunge than perhaps we were a moment ago. If you don't feel confident with the lunge, with the back heel off of the floor, excuse me, you could put a brick at the back of your mat and rest your heel onto it that way. Exactly the same pose, balancing warrior now. So we've moved from Anjaneyasana, which is the knee on the floor, to balancing warrior, which means the back heel is lifted. I'm going to take both hands up, straight up towards the ceiling. Point the tailbone downwards, lift the front of the hips upwards, and hold this here, just with the hands straight up. No big back bend going on, not just yet. Breathe in and out. Press the back heel backwards, bend the front knee. And then one more breath. As you breathe out, bow your hands down to the ground, please. Slowly does it, step back to downward dog. Okay, so just pause here. Very nice. Inhale, float your shoulders over your wrists. Think about turning the elbow creases forwards, triceps rolling backwards. Floating the left foot off of the floor, even if it's an inch or two, it doesn't matter how high. Then curling the knee underneath as though you're trying to take your nose to your knee, lift the spine, engage the abdomen, use your core, and then bring your foot in between your hands. So give it a bit of a help if it doesn't quite get there. I'm up on my fingertips to get off of my wrists. See if you can lunge a little bit deeper, just give the legs that bigger stretch. Good, and then we've got to get some momentum so you can spring off of the back foot to bring the foot forwards, hang down, and then slowly roll up to stand. Superb. Hands onto your hips, body weight into the left leg, and stride the right leg back. You can always wiggle the toes back further if they don't get long enough the first time. Left knee above the ankle, pressing back through the right heel, tailbone lengthening down if you can, front of the hips lifting up, arms up, just gaze forwards please. Reach up through the fingertips as the hips lower down, right heel presses back, front knee nice and strong. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. Once again, breathe in. As you breathe out, lower the arms back to the hips. Step the back foot forwards and stand for a moment in mountain pose into Tadasana. Very good. Okay, just stay here and breathe. Okay. All right, so we're going to come into Warrior One, which is a back bend, which we are going to curve back. And the only difference between what we've already done in this pose, particularly, is the back foot. Okay, so we're going to start with the hands on the hips, leave the right foot where it is, and I'd like you to step the left foot back, but this time you're bringing your heel onto the floor. And this is what makes Warrior One different from the balancing warrior. The stance is not quite so long and the back heel is on the ground. Now, most traditions will ask you to turn the hips to face the top of the mat. But if you do that, you're turning your pelvis. And if you get any sensation across your lower back or sacroiliac region that's unwanted, if you get it, it feels a bit tight here, a bit pulling, then I want you to allow your hips just to be wherever they want to be. so that that doesn't happen, okay? Because it might just be that you're working this area too hard. If you can turn the hips forwards, go for it, but don't force it to happen. Hands stay on the hips just for balance for a minute, and then bend your right knee. And when you bend your right knee, think about what's happening with the back foot. Can you keep pressing the outside edge of the back foot into the floor and keep the back leg long and strong and straight? Okay, then we'll do the same thing. Let's take the hands behind the head, elbows nice and wide, lean back. Okay, so these strong legs. If you get any pinching in your lower back, I want you to stop coming back so deeply. But think about, keep lifting the heart up towards the ceiling and letting the head move backwards in space, but you've got your hands there to support it. Good. Breathe in and out. Then release the hands to the hips. Lift up the back heel, step the foot forward, and rest the hands down by your sides. Okay, so loads of work going on in there, loads of work going on in the legs, the ankles, but also in this stability that has to come here within our core, because we can all back bend into our lower backs, but we have to think about, can we get the back bend higher up into the thoracics? And that's why we're lifting the heart and keeping this stability here. All right, so let's do the other side. So left foot stays where it is, and we can step the right foot back. So automatically the hips kind of want to turn to the side at a little bit of an angle, and that's fine. You can stay facing where your hips are facing. If you can turn to the top of the mat, go for it, but just watch what's happening across the lower back, okay? Back heel should be strong, back leg straight, front knee bends, okay? So work your foot position, make sure that you feel comfortable, and then change the cross of your fingers or change your dominant hand and have the hands behind your head again. And then think about elbows opening out wide and the heart lifting upwards. So you're trying to maintain length and space in your spine rather than shortening or compressing it in your back bend. So keep lifting up, just like in camel pose. We did camel pose fairly recently, and you have to kind of take the hips forwards, but lift the heart up and back so you can create that nice big curve. All right, well done. Breathe in. As you breathe out, release your hands, hands to hips. Step the back foot forwards. Hands rest down by your sides. Good, and breathe. All right. So we're going to take a really nice forward fold now, just to unwind some of those strong back bend positions. If you have, and this is something that we might not have done before in these online classes, so we're going to come into a ragdoll, which is going to look a bit like this, and you're going to hold the opposite elbows or let the head hang. If you have a surface like a wall or the edge of a sofa or something like that, so I'm going to move some of these things out of the way that are here so that you can see me at a bit of an angle if I turn that like that. So I'm going to come into my forward fold, dropping my chin towards my chest, and then I'm going to walk towards the wall, and I'm going to tuck the head right in, maybe get a little bit closer and rest the back of my head or back of my shoulders onto the wall like this. Okay, and then you can feel that you might be able to lift your hips and get quite a nice stretch for your shoulders as well as the back of the legs. So have a play with that. You have to really bring the chin towards your chest so that you feel maybe a little bit more comfortable. You're not going to bang your head on the wall, I promise you. I want you to bring the back of your shoulders onto the wall. And then the closer you get your feet to the wall, the more of a forward fold stretch you're going to get. But you'll notice that by doing this, if you don't want to do this, just hang in a forward fold. Just hold the opposite elbows, chin to chest, ragdoll position. You don't have to have your back on the wall at all. You can do this without. So you're still getting this lovely back bend. And if you're not using the wall, just rock gently from side to side in a really lovely ragdoll. Okay, and then the best bit's coming out, as always. So be careful as you step back and then slowly unwind and come back up to stand, everybody. Good. Okay, that's a nice one to play around with, especially if you're looking for more of a stretch in your hamstrings. All right, so now we're going to do something that we have done in a couple of the morning classes. I'll turn to the side so you can see more easily, but I might bang my arms more. So you're just going to bend your knees and you're going to let your hips tilt forwards a little bit so your arms can dangle, so you can swing them like this. And I want you to swing them so that you alternate which arm is in front. So let there be a little bit of softness here, a little bit of release. It's playful, it's not too serious. And we're going to use this to come into eagle arms. So when you're ready, wrap the arms around into an eagle position like this, or hold the opposite shoulder and come back up to stand. And this is going to be a really nice antidote to all that backward bending that we've been doing. So I want you to draw a circle with your elbows in the air in front of you. Just feel your shoulder blades gliding around on the back of your body. And then do some circles the other way. Okay. And then to really breathe into the back body, so bend the knees a little bit. I want you to breathe in and move the elbows away, but round the upper back, just like we did in that praying mantis earlier. And then exhale, you come back in a little bit. Okay, so really utilising the lung space on the back body. Breathe in, elbows moving away, chin to chest. Breathe into the back of the lungs. Breathe out and gently come back in. We'll do this one more time. So breathe in, back of the shoulder blades spreading, heart filling up, and then come back. Good, and then release and come back into your swing. So this is playful, a little bit of release for the shoulders, and we'll do the other side. So it will be intuitive, I'm sure, but bring the arms into eagle pose the other way and come up to stand. Okay, couple of circles, thinking about your shoulder blades moving freely across your back body, and then do some circles the other way. And then 3 breaths here. Breathe in, bend the elbows, move the elbows away, chin to chest, round the upper back, and then gently bring yourself back in. 2 more times, breathing in. And it's this mobility and this freedom in the upper back that will lead to deeper back bends. So 1 more time, breathing in, elbows move away, chin to chest. And then breathing out, coming back. Good, and release. All right, okay. And then a total departure from everything else that we have done, but I thought we'd come into something a little bit fun, a little bit light-hearted, and a little bit of a balance. So if you need a surface to put a hand onto, please do. So this is a lovely goddess balance. I want you to choose a leg that you're going to stand on. And you're going to turn those toes out at a 45-degree angle, as I have done. And that knee is going to gently bend. And the other leg, you're going to pick that up, and you're also turning the knee out with the toes following the direction of the knee. So you're standing like this. This arm is parallel, the forearm is parallel to the knee with the palm facing away. And the other hand comes onto the top of your head. Very nice. So have a play with this. Looking good, everyone. And then gently release and come back down. I'm going to change my view. So let's do the other side. So turn the other toes out. So they've just turned out a bit of an angle. and you bend that knee. So this knee stays bent throughout. The other knee bends and then you turn, it's like you're turning your inner thigh forwards. Foot is flexed, knee comes up as high as the hip. Other arm rests at a right angle in front on the top, and then the other hand behind above your head. And keep bending the knee so you're really working your ankle strongly here. Good. Hold it, breathe in, breathe out, and then gently release. Good, shake it on out. Good, okay, because not everything we do has to be dead serious and all about getting somewhere. It can just be a little bit playful as well. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is come and lay on your tummy again. So back down onto your front. Let's move all my things out of the way. Okay, so a couple more back bends before we finish. A couple more variations on Shalabhasana. For this one, we're going to take the hands down by the sides. And you can opt to leave them there. Or if you would like a stronger shoulder stretch and a front of the chest opener, because you've done a lot to open up the back of the chest, this is more for the front, then you can take the hands and link them behind your body. Now that's not comfortable for everybody, so you could just hold the opposite wrist or just have the hands down by your sides. Whatever works for your shoulders, for your wrists, or whatever it is that you're thinking about looking after tonight. Now, I don't mind what you do, so have your hands in your start position, and then breathing in, lifting your upper body away from the floor. So if your hands are by your sides, the hands also lift, and you're working your fingers towards your outer ankles, and then gently come back down. So you're going to do a couple more of these. So breathing in to come up, and strong back bends come from this working of and toning muscles on the back body. So let's keep going. Do come up and down whenever you're ready. You can do this with your own breath. So breathing in, and maybe think about either, if your feet are on the floor, press the tops of the feet into the floor and firm the inner thighs, bringing the inner thighs, squeezing them together. Good. Gently coming down as you breathe out. Maybe this time as you breathe in, lifting your feet as well as your upper body off of the floor, squeezing the inner thighs towards one another, feeling your glutes working here, breathing, opening the chest, and then gently coming back down. Okay, can you do two more of these? Lovely. Really lengthen out through the toes, spread the toes, legs long, inner thighs working, notice how strong you can be, and relax. One last time, you've got this. Good. And releasing. Rest. Rest your head, release your arms, wiggle your hips from side to side. Good job, we are almost there. So now I'd like you to roll over onto your back, please. And when you get there, hug your knees in towards your chest. All right, so ignore the fact that I put this under my head. It's only because my hair is in the way. So we're going, for what you're about to do, you mustn't have any support underneath your head. However, we're just starting with a little bit of a squeeze in of the knees towards the chest. And then I'd like you to pop your feet down onto the mat. See if you can, in a minute we'll think about the arms in fact, but what I want you to do is walk the heels in towards your bottom. And make sure that your knees and your ankles are hips width apart. Think about your head and your neck and turn your head from side to side gently. And this is a great way to release tension in the upper body and in the neck and the jaw. Then what I want you to do is lift your hips just an inch or two off of the floor and turn your head from side to side. Then lift again a little bit higher and turn your head from side to side. Go again, lifting a little bit higher, head rolls from side to side, just making sure that the back of the neck, muscles of the back of the head are all nice and released. Come up as high as you can now, really pressing into the heels, squeezing the glutes, the hamstrings, and you've got another back bend. Chest coming towards the chin as much as you can. Maybe turn the head, maybe just little turns, not big turns. See what happens, see how that feels. Legs strong, come on, lift a little bit higher. Yeah. And then gently come back down. Once you come down, turn the head again side to side. Okay, so let's do this one more time. So come up really slowly. You can come up and you can breathe. You can inhale up an inch or two, pause as you exhale. Turn the head. Inhale another couple of inches. Pause, turn the head, breathe out, and keep going until you come up as high as you can come for Setu Bandha bridge pose. Nice preparation for the shoulders, nice opening and lengthening for the neck, but also a really great way to improve the flexibility and the mobility of the spine. Okay, coming down when you're ready. And just resting for a minute, turning the head from side to side again. Okay. So we're going to change one leg position. Don't mind which one you choose, but you're still going to do bridge pose. But this time you're going to cross one foot over the top of the thigh. So it's like you're making a figure of four. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. So if this feels too strong, go back to having both feet onto the floor, please. So taking an inhalation when you're ready, and we're just going to float all of the way up. And as you lift up, I want you to lower the knee down. So you're just creating space across the front of the hips, and then gently come down. Okay, you're going to do that again. Breathing in and lifting up. Breathing out. And coming down. One more time, lifting and lowering. Then bring the foot off of the floor. Keep the legs in the same shape. Either hold the back of the thigh or you can hold around the shin. And bring the legs as close towards your chest as you can to give your glute a little bit of a stretch out. Very nice. Then gently release. Keep the legs in the same shape, but drop the foot back down to the floor so you're back in your start position. I'm going to change my leg position so you can see. Arms a little distance out from your sides. Breathe in, and then whatever is your floating leg, you're going to roll so that that foot comes down onto the floor. Okay. You're going to stay here. You should have a little bit of a stretchy feel across the hip, maybe into the lower back a little bit. You could turn your gaze in the opposite direction to the direction of the knees. I'd like you to breathe in and out here. Okay, one more breath. And then you're going to inhale and return back to center and change the cross of the legs. All right. So then we'll go back and we'll do our little sequence again. So one leg crossed over, make sure it's the opposite one this time. 3 of these, so inhaling to come up, and as you come up, aim to drop the the knee, the floating knee down to open up the front of the hips some more. And then gently lowering down. Okay, so 2 more of them at your own pace. Good, really press into the heel and think about the glutes being firm and the hips staying level as much as you can. Level the hips. Good, last one. And then gently release. Now keep the legs in the same shape, but bring the knees closer towards your chest and hug the knee or the shin or the thigh towards you for a like a glute, so threading the needle, we sometimes call this pose, don't we? As we have the leg, one leg crossover. So you should have a stretch on that glute with the whichever leg was crossed over. All right. Now release the arms out to the sides. Foot can come back down onto the floor. One leg is still crossed over the thigh, so keep them in that same shape that they were. You just want your ankle crossed over, so it's just your the sort of edge of your ankle that is resting on the top of your thigh. And then you're rolling in the direction, the opposite direction, so that the sole of the foot can come onto the floor with the knee sort of pointing upwards towards the ceiling. That's lovely. And if you haven't got much of a stretch here, the leg which is closest to the floor, you just bring that a little bit closer towards your chest, and that would create more of a stretch in the glute. You can turn your gaze in the opposite direction to that of your knees, and you can breathe and relax. All right. Take one more breath here. And then you can gently return back to the center. Unravel the legs and hug them in towards your chest. Good. Have a little rock from side to side, encouraging length and space for your back body. And then you can slide your feet away from you to the corners of your mat. Good. Allowing your toes to roll out, maybe to the sides, encouraging the feet to be at least hips width apart, maybe a little bit wider if you can. Encouraging the legs to feel long and heavy. Settling the back of the body against the ground. Back of the head heavy. Neck long. Release your jaw and let your tongue rest easily within your mouth. Soften your cheekbones. Smooth the skin across your forehead. Behind lightly closed eyelids, allow your eyes to fall to the back of their sockets. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax your temples. Relax your earlobes. Relax the tip of your nose. Feel your whole body relaxing, sinking softly into your mat. And if any thoughts enter to your mind space, allow them to float away gently, as though they're little fluffy clouds on a gentle breeze. Stay present, stay aware of your body. Give yourself permission to be here, yet to do nothing. Okay. I'd like you to bring your awareness back into the room you're in. And invite some deeper breaths in and out. Before you bring yourself out of your stillness, spend a moment enjoying how peaceful you feel. then begin to invite little movements to fingers and toes. And your head from side to side gently. And then take a stretch out any way that feels good. And then you can bend your knees and roll yourself over to one side. And you can bring yourself around and up and come to sit. Well done, everyone. Okay, so let's just sit for a moment or two together. So sit comfortably. You can kneel if you want, or you can have your legs out straight. Let's take the fingertips to the floor next to you. And then take a lovely big breath in and bring the palms together above your head. And then breathe out, bring the hands back down through the center line. And we're going to do this a couple more times to steady and center ourselves, to keep things nice and calm. Breathe in and slowly bring the arms above your head. And breathe out, hands come back down. One more time, breathing in. And this time letting the hands stay in front of your heart as you close your eyes. Breathe in and out as though you were breathing in and out of your heart. Recognizing how much space you've created here this evening. And I'd invite you, in between our practices, to explore some of those breathing techniques or those shapes for your spine. And see whether you can allow your breath to inhabit more space within your body. All right, so let's take another breath in. Open your eyes. Well done. Namaste to you. And have a very lovely rest of the evening. And I'll look forward to seeing you for the next practice very soon. Okay.